What is going on, everyone? My name is Turk. This is Level 1 News, and today I'm bringing to you my review of Typoman Revised. This game comes from the developer of Brainseed Factory. It was originally a Wii U exclusive, but it is now pretty much on every platform, and I played my version on PC. Typoman is a 2D platform puzzle game that's all about letters and words. And in it you play as Hero, who is literally the word hero spelled out, and as the main character you run and jump your way through basic platforming type levels. But what makes Typoman unique are the word-based puzzles. So most of the time you'll be making your way through a level like a typical platformer, but then you'll come across a scenario where you'll have a bunch of letters and you'll have to rearrange those letters to spell out a word that'll help you get through that area. So a very simple example of this is like coming to a closed gate and using the letters U and P, putting them together and making the gate go up so you can continue through the level. Again, that's a very simple example, and puzzles definitely get more complex than that as you progress through the game. Usually you'll need maybe like a few minutes to rearrange the letters. The platforming itself is pretty straightforward. It won't really push you in any way. It's more of a secondary element to the game. All you really have to do is just run, jump, and move letters around. That's basically the main gameplay part of the game. The real meat of the game is solving the puzzles. So like those word-based puzzles that I mentioned before, that's basically where the game is really trying to push you. There are enemies in the game, but the main character doesn't have a health bar or any way of attacking, so you don't really have to fight directly with the enemies. The fights are more like puzzles you have to solve. So for like example, you'll put together a word that will protect you, or you'll make a word that will make the environment like stop the enemy from attacking you. So stuff like that. So you don't actually fight the enemies directly. There's no weapons, there's no health bar in the game or anything like that. So that's really the core of the gameplay. It's basically light platforming with most of the game made up of word puzzles throughout each level. Now, one way Typoman really excels though is the art style and aesthetics. One of the first games that came to mind when I started playing Typoman was Limbo, which was one of my most favorite games from the previous generation. Similar to Limbo, Typoman has a dark dystopian look to it. You'll travel through levels that have a very industrial design to them, and they'll all have letters scattered throughout each environment. So for example, ladders will be made up of H's, and spike pits are a bunch of A's. So there's like a lot of creativity in Typoman. Now you're not given any direction with the story in the game. The whole thing is super vague and it's left up to your interpretation. There's a lot of environmental storytelling here, so you'll get almost all of the plot from that. There are collectibles that give you like a few sentences or like a paragraph of story, but again, they're super vague. They don't really come together to form like a really coherent story. Again, they're just kind of suggestions of a story. But I think one of the most positive aspects about this game is the art style though. That's one of the main drivers that I found that really made me want to keep playing the game. The art aesthetic and the way the levels were designed themselves is what made me want to go see more of the game. Because again, the story is super vague. It's really all about the level design and the art aesthetic, and I'm not too into like the word puzzles that much. So for me, it was more about just seeing what's gonna come next, like seeing what kind of interesting puzzle or interesting environment the game was gonna throw at me next, and that's what really made me keep playing the game really. So overall, I would say Typoman is worth playing through. It's obviously a much smaller indie game. It probably will take you maybe 2 or 3 hours at the absolute most. If you know what you're doing, you could probably get through the game in like maybe an hour and a half. So the game is very quick. It's a very quick play. It's not going to push you that much, unless if you're really terrible at like word-based puzzle games. But none of them were really, I thought, were really that difficult to get through. There was only a couple where like that took me a few minutes to sit there and try and figure out. But for the most part, the game is just the game's kind of casual in that way. It's like the platforming isn't really hardcore or anything like that. It's not about precision or anything like that. So I think it's worth playing through. It's a nice it could be a nice change of pace from like your usual gaming. I'm sure it's not like any game you've played before. Again, the art style is really well done. The music, it fits the game perfectly, and the gameplay is, again, it won't push you that much. So it's a like kind of a interesting like kind of experiment, an interesting playthrough. So to give the game a score, I would say it's a 7.5. The only real reason being that it's not a higher score is just because of the replayability. Once you play through the game, that's pretty much it. There's really no reason to go back and play it. And again, it's a pretty quick game too. It's not something that's really going to take that much time. So if you're interested in this game, it is worth picking up though. It's really well done. It's very interesting. It's very different. And yeah, I think it's definitely worth picking up. So that's it for my review of Typoman Revised. If you like this video, like and subscribe. And thank you for watching Level 1 News.